one of the places to purchase a rental that's going to produce some income is in a college town like San Luis Obispo, where you've got an abundance of students. We've got Cuesta College, we've got Cal Poly.
Yep.
These are students that are not typically going to buy.
Right.
So you've got students for 4 or 5 years here that need a place to live. And so you've got a market for a rental property.
Yep.
Okay.
Welcome to San Luis Obispo Real Estate Podcast with Hal Sweasey. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you, James.
We
Thank you,
convinced him to stay again.
Yes.
So we have more information because you brought up a question. So we're just gonna get rolling here.
I mean, Ed was so popular. It was like we got all these requests. Hey, tell me more about the law.
Right.
I get that all the time.
Yeah, sure. And there people are asking you that question.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Hal, tell me about the law.
Law, tax advice. Yeah, that's it. So we brought this up because we live in a town that's college town, and I get people that ask about, okay, if I want to buy a rental property, some people have concerns, about that process and what it means. What would you recommend to someone that's venturing into or even owns a rental property, especially as San Luis County? What kind of things have you found?
It's a great question, and I get called about it quite often too, because people look to diversify their portfolio, and what they're looking for is a rental that's going to produce some income.
Sure.
And one of the places to purchase a rental that's going to produce some income is in a college town like San Luis Obispo, where you've got an abundance of students. We've got Cuesta College, we've got Cal Poly.
Yep.
These are students that are not typically going to buy.
Right.
So you've got students for 4 or 5 years here that need a place to live. And so you've got a market for a rental property.
Yep.
Okay. And the question is, what do I do?
Yeah.
And the first piece of advice I give people is, if possible, I would purchase that rental property in an LLC. Okay. And the reason I would use an LLC is I would want to protect myself from personal liability.
Okay.
Okay. I'll give you an example of that.
Perfect.
You're the homeowner. Okay. You rent to a group of 4 or 5 college boys. They're 18 to 23, college men. Okay. And these guys have...
that band came from? Boys to Men? Is that what that was?
I don't think so.
College kids?
I
I'm
don't
sorry,
think so.
my brain.
End of the road.
Trying to make the law
I think that's a little different. But yeah, try to make the law interesting, will you?
We got 4 students renting a house. Okay, good.
You've got 4 young men renting a house,
Yeah.
and they bring over a trampoline. Okay? And their friends come over and they have a couple beers and they're bouncing around on the trampoline. And someone gets ejected from the trampoline, they break their neck. Okay? There's going to be a lawsuit because someone's injured.
Right.
And you as the homeowner have an insurance policy. So you're the deep pocket. They might sue the other tenants in the house or somebody who supplied the beer or whatever, but more than likely you're going to be named in that lawsuit because you are the homeowner and you have a policy of insurance that provides some recourse for an injury. Okay. If you have your house in an LLC, hopefully that injured party isn't going to name you as an individual. They're going to name the homeowner. The homeowner is an LLC. It's an entity.
Okay.
And the idea behind the LLC is it avoids personal liability by taking title to the house and protecting your other assets, your home, your brokerage account from being subjected to that liability.
Okay.
Okay. And leaving the insurance that's available to the plaintiff that's been injured. Okay.
Protect just that confined asset, I guess.
Correct.
Is that right? Okay.
And so in San Luis Obispo, now that our real estate values have gone up,
right.
You used to buy a rental in town, it was $300,000. People would put 2 or 3 or 4 properties in one LLC.
Okay.
But now that prices in San Luis Obispo have gone up and you're buying a rental property for $1 million plus,
right.
people often go, hey, listen, I'm going to put one property in one LLC.
Okay.
And I'm going to put a second property in a second LLC.
Okay.
I'm not going to lump them all into one LLC, because if I have a casualty at one property, it puts everything in the LLC at risk.
Got it.
I don't want to put my other $1 million rentals at risk. I'm going to do one at a time.
Okay.
Okay. So the first piece of advice I would give somebody considering buying in a town like ours is start with an LLC. If you're serious about investing in rental property and your target market is young adults that are jumping on trampolines or what have you, and create more liability than, two adults with a child,
Right.
then an LLC is a very good protection device to use right from the get-go, so that you're trying to protect yourself from personal liability.
And you probably see more of this than I do, but I mean, even people of different ages have issues, and you might have something wrong with the property. We have a leak and you don't know about it, and then you have stuff growing, a mold or something like that, and people have health issues.
Exactly.
So it covers the same thing.
It does, and you want to get a robust insurance policy so that you're protected. And oftentimes you want to get an umbrella policy,
Okay.
right, so that you have extra coverage.
Right.
And you always want to make sure that your underlying insurance policy is satisfying the requirements of the umbrella. I see that as a lawyer. Most people, lay people, aren't seeing that issue. But when there is a casualty and you make a claim to your insurance company, if the claim exceeds the homeowner's value, let's say it's $1 million underlying policy, you tender to your umbrella policy, and the umbrella policy denies coverage.
Okay.
And you go, oh my gosh, why are you denying coverage? I've been paying my premium for years. One of the typical terms of an umbrella policy is that the underlying policy is going to insure that home either at fair market value or replacement value within a certain limit.
Okay.
Okay, so if you bought your rental property years and years ago for $300,000 and now it's worth $1 million,
Right.
and you haven't updated your underlying insurance policy to $1 million, it's still at $300,000, and there's a casualty, the umbrella policy isn't going to pick up because you're outside the requirements of ensuring that the underlying policy is high enough.
Okay.
Do you follow that?
No. Here's what I learned: ask your attorney about your insurance coverages.
That, but even more important, ask your insurance agent
Okay.
if they've sold you an umbrella policy. Ask your insurance agent to confirm that your underlying insurance policy meets all the requirements of your umbrella policy.
Okay. So they have to kind of match up.
You want to make sure that
Okay. I did not know this. So
that happens. I mean, because I'm a lawyer, I see that issue
Right.
where people come in with a denial letter
Right.
and they go, holy cow, Ed, I've been paying this premium for a decade or more. I never made a claim. And now I finally have a claim and they denied coverage. What the heck's going on? And it's because the underlying policy is not meeting the requirements of the umbrella.
got it. Okay.
So a very good question to ask your insurance agent who sold you the policies.
Right.
And you're paying the premiums every year.
Okay.
Hey, what's the story with my underlying policy? Am I in compliance with the terms of my umbrella? Will
Okay.
you take a look? Make sure I don't need to increase my underlying policy.
So you've got, protection through an entity like an LLC is important.
Correct.
Reviewing your insurance is important. So for those people that have rental properties or are getting into them, what else is important in like dealing with tenants and that sort of thing?
Well, a lease. You need
Okay.
a good lease, and you need a lease that's written in your favor.
Right.
If you're the homeowner, you've
Right.
got the asset that you're putting at risk,
Yeah.
right? And so you want a lease that protects you when a tenant doesn't pay rent.
Got it.
Or when a tenant is breaching the quiet and enjoyment of the neighborhood.
Right.
Or, and in San Luis Obispo, that's a violation of the San Luis Obispo noise ordinance. And so
Yes.
you want to be able to enforce that lease against your tenants so that for whatever violation, you can manage your property properly so that you don't have liability.
Right.
And you do that with a well-drafted lease.
And so a noise violation, how does that create liability? But can I share a story with you first?
Sure.
So when my wife, Maria, was pregnant with our first son, so this is 1993, her mother came and stayed with us. And we stayed up and, 6 o'clock. So Maria's the 10th of 10 children. So her mom was 40 when she was born. So that means her mom was about 70 years old. So 70-year-old mother-in-law, Maria pregnant, me, and maybe one other person. We were playing Pictionary. And we got a little excited and loud. And guess what? The police came to our door. So we didn't get an actual violation, but we got a warning.
Yeah, right.
So, and she was at 70 going to the Maha Rishi International University, which she's meditating all the time. Yeah. So this was one of the funniest things ever.
What an exciting night for her.
This was a big night for me. I mean, we had it, and I haven't had one since. But so what happens these days if your tenants make a lot of noise, the neighbors complain, and there's a violation filed?
Well, the way the San Luis Obispo noise ordinance works, in my experience, is that the neighbor calls to complain.
Sure.
They call the police department. Initially, the police department checks a list to make sure that you're not on their list. and then they send out a student patrol.
I'm not going to say it's called provider of housing. So the owner provider of housing is on the list, or the occupants are on the list?
Address of the property.
Address. They check the address. Okay. So see if there's been other problems at that address.
Correct.
Gotcha.
If there hasn't been other problems at that address, dispatch for San Luis PD will try to send out a student patrol. There are students interested in law enforcement. It's a student neighborhood assist patrol or something like that. SNAP, I think, is what they call them.
Okay.
But these kids come to the property, they knock on the door, and they say, "Hey, who do you live here? Hal, you live at the property?" And Hal says, "Yeah." And they say, "Hey, your neighbor has made a complaint about noise. You guys are in violation of the noise ordinance. You need to break the party up."
Yeah. Turn the stereo down.
Turn the stereo down. Then
Whatever it is, yeah.
Hal empties the house out, and they write Hal. They used to at least write Hal what was called a DAC card, or a disturbance advisement card.
Okay.
And they would say, "Hal, we came Wednesday, 11 p.m. There were approximately 20 people in the house, and you're in violation of the San Luis Obispo noise ordinance." They give you the DAC card. The city, when they get that complaint, the student can't write you a citation. They're not a sworn officer, so they give you a warning. Okay. The city takes that warning and they write the homeowner a letter that says, "Hey, you need to get control of your tenants. Your property's in violation of the San Luis Obispo noise ordinance. Don't let it happen again, or you're going to be subject to an administrative fine, and your tenants are going to get cited." Okay. So as a responsible landlord or homeowner, you have to write your tenants and say, "Hey, listen, I'm aware of the party that's happened. I know that you got a warning. Stop that behavior."
Right.
In a good lease, there's some sort of remuneration that happens because of the violation of the lease,
Right.
a liquidated damage.
Right.
If there's some other way to stop that behavior, I'm unaware of it because you weren't invited to the party as the homeowner.
Right.
So the city is asking you to stop that behavior 2 or 3 weeks after you get notice of the party
Right.
that you weren't invited to.
Right.
So you go, give me a couple $100 and stop that behavior.
Right.
And they go, "Oh man, I don't want to pay $300. So
Right.
let's stop our behavior."
Right.
They get put on what's called, the address then goes on a premise list. Okay. So, a month or two goes by and they have another party.
Okay.
And the neighbor calls and complains.
Right.
This time, dispatch looks down and they find your address on the premise list.
Uh-oh.
Now, the SNAP or the student patrol does not go by. A sworn San Luis Police Department officer goes by and he breaks up, or she breaks up the party.
Right.
Now someone's going to get a citation.
Okay.
Okay. I believe the citations are $350, $450 for a noise violation.
Okay.
So Hal Sweasey answers the door and they go, "Hal, do you live here?" And he says, "Yes." And they go, "Here's your citation for violating the San Luis Obispo noise ordinance." As that get processed through the city sends out an administrative citation to the homeowner that says, "Hey, we told you to curb that behavior with your tenants. You haven't. We had to send out police, and as a result, there's an administrative cost to that for processing this. Your fine is $350 or $450, whatever it is. I think it's $350. Let's say the ticket the police officer writes is $350 and the administrative citation is $350. So now the city has written 2 citations, one to the student for $350, one to the homeowner for $350.
Right.
Usually, as the homeowner, you're not the result of the fine, you say, "Hey, I'm sorry, you've got a $350 citation. Take mine."
Yeah.
Right? So now that student has $750, or I'm sorry, I'm a lawyer, $700 in fines.
Yeah.
Right? That they have citations that they've got to pay.
So you're drafting that in a lease to say.
And your lease says, "Hey, that's another violation of our."
That's on you.
That's on you again, and I'm going to charge you another $400 or $500 for violating the San Luis Obispo noise ordinance. So let's say it's $500 for the second
Right.
violation of the ordinance. It's not, the warning counts.
Yeah.
Under your lease, the warning counts because it's a violation of the San Luis Obispo noise ordinance. Okay, people confuse the ability to write a citation and a liquidated damage under a lease that's a civil
Right.
agreement. Okay,
We're getting too deep in the law here, but here's what it sounds like to me. You have a security deposit if someone damages your home, right?
Correct.
And so this is basically a type of deposit saying, "Hey, if you damage the neighborhood, or we're damaged financially because of your behavior."
The citations
similar to that
can all come out of the security deposit.
Yeah.
But what I'm I guess, and I don't mean to be long-winded about it, but what I'm trying to impress upon anyone who's listening that has a rental property is you have the ability to protect yourself from these citations, and they're resulting from the behavior of your tenants that you need to control. The city wants you to control that behavior.
Right.
And the way you're doing that is, unfortunately, they're getting cited by the city. You are too, which you're handing over. Right. And your lease has a civil remedy that says, pay me a couple $100 every time you violate the noise ordinance. When you put the financial pressure like on anybody, but when you put it on your tenants, that behavior changes.
Right.
So when you have rental property, you have an LLC to protect you from personal liability. You have insurance and umbrella coverage so that if there's a casualty at the property, you're safe from paying out of your pocket. Mm-hmm. And you have a good lease so that if the behavior of your tenants is causing liability with the city or problems with your neighbors, you have the ability to curb that by stopping it. Right. Okay. And another good thing about a lease is we're talking about people that generally don't have that kind of money. You have a parent guarantee on that, or somebody guaranteeing that lease that goes, hey, you know what? I'm going to call my son or daughter and say, I didn't send you down to Cal Poly to party. I want grades and behavior, and knock it off.
Right.
Have the party at your friend's house if you want, but knock it off, not at yours.
Yeah.
So it's the
leverage and protection.
Yeah, but if you're if you've invested this money, which is a significant amount of money now in San Luis Obispo real estate, you're trying to protect your investment.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And those are ways that you would protect your investment with an LLC's quality insurance, and done correctly, and a lease that protects your investment from not only the tenants, but your neighbors in the city and the police department.
Right.
So that you're safe.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay.
So you help people with that?
I do help people with that.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a frequent issue. I have rental properties, but also there are many people out there that are looking for a solution because they're wrapped up in a noise violation problem they never wanted to be in.
Yeah, yeah. So you're there to protect them when things go wrong. Hopefully they don't, right? I mean, seriously, right? That's what it's for.
I don't know if I can protect them when things go wrong, but I can certainly help
prevent.
Give them the advice so that they can put themselves away from harm as much as possible.
Yeah, it's like a good doctor or a firefighter is there to prevention, right?
Sure. Yeah. I appreciate the analogy.
Yeah. Don't put a can of gasoline next to
Superman, Batman.
Yeah. Well,
your local small town lawyer.
I know what you
maybe a realtor or two.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Hey, Ed, it could be any noise ordinance. So it could be pets, right? It could be your dog barking if somebody calls.
Man, James, I've had experiences where it's as little as a couple kids watching TV on a hot summer night and the screen door's open. The front door's open and the TV's on loud, and it could be a dog barking. It could be, and have had blowout parties, but it's not always the blowout party. It's the stereo's up too loud and it's midnight and it's carrying
It was a 70-year-old playing Pictionary in my house. My pregnant wife, and we, I get it. That was funny.
Well, I say that because I've had that junior police officer come by my house because my dog barked for like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Straight.
Okay.
And I live in an older neighborhood, and they didn't like it. So I had a knock on the door with some guy with kind of halfway badge and just a regular belt on.
Yeah,
give me a little warning.
Yeah,
correct.
So, yeah,
you would hope you have a good enough relationship with your neighbors. They feel comfortable. Hey, you know what? Can you mind?
That does go a long way, doesn't it?
It does go a long way.
It really does.
Yeah,
it is huge. In fact, smart college young people, when they move into a neighborhood, are good to go meet the neighbors.
Introduce themselves.
I give my tenants that advice all the time. Go by, introduce yourself, exchange phone numbers. Yeah. So if there's a problem, they can make a phone call.
Call me.
And, nothing wrong with taking your neighbor's garbage cans in and out every now and then to give them a hand.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? If they're
I wish
leaving
you were
town.
my neighbor, because mine are always out too late. So I need you to do that.
Thank you.
Or John Turner, buy him a 12-pack or something.
Yeah, that's John's famous. If they paid on time, he dropped off a 12-pack. Yeah. They were all over 21.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Otherwise, they'd be calling you.
Do you go that route with your rentals, Ed?
What's that?
Give them beer?
No, sir, never.
Yeah.
Never.
Okay.
No.
That's one of our most
I don't
watched
attend
clips.
the parties. I don't attend the parties, and I don't supply alcohol.
Yeah.
Probably wise.
Yeah.
By far. It's
Good, very good question, though, Jeff. Thank you.
more than tripled any of our highest.
With John Turner explaining when he had a rental property, and he goes, listen, I want you to, if you pay on time, here's what you get, a 30 rack or whatever you call it, dropped it off.
And who cares if they were 14-year-olds?
No, they were 20. They were college students. Yeah.
Okay, good. Just checking.
All 21. But anyway, so that was the most watched clip that you made out of our podcast.
Yeah.
So
Is that right?
It's okay. Whatever it works.
Like 5.
I think my mother-in-law is not going to even come close, but I tried.
She might. Add a few more details.
Yeah. Well, we'll stop there. Dictionary.
I looked up the ordinance for the fines. First fine's $350, second one's $700, and the third one is $1,000.
It's not messing around, Jeff.
Yeah.
Hello.
Or James.
And that goes to both parties, the tenant and the provider.
Yeah,
of housing.
this is to the resident.
So your tenants have a second party, and what was the number? 750.
350, 700,
700. You get in the mail a administrative citation for $700 for a party you didn't get to go to.
Right.
You weren't invited to. And you go, what the heck's going on here?
Yeah.
And that's the second one you've gotten at that point.
And that's the second one you
Is that
got.
why I don't get invited to parties anymore?
It could be.
Probably why.
It could be.
Yeah.
But the city of San Luis Obispo, no kidding aside, you guys, they take it very seriously. They police this and they keep statistics about it. And they believe that those citations really do curb noise. And when you get 2 and you're up to $700, it sure does.
San Luis Obispo City Ordinance technically is 24/7 the quiet hour. So you can get it any time of the day.
Around the clock.
Well, and those
what it says.
Citations double during St. Friday's
between
Day.
10 p.m. and 7 p.m. is their
quiet time.
Ultra quiet, I guess. And
No,
it's 24/7. But
there
on
are
holidays.
periods during the Wow Week or St. Friday's Day or whatever. There are other periods of time where the city doubles the citation.
Around Jeff
it gets
Kingman's
a lot.
house when the Seahawks win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're screaming going on
So,
there.
I mean, this is very timely for what's coming up. I mean, because it's just right around the corner. You brought up St. Friday's Day. I mean, button up your tenants if that's the case.
That and, the drunken public tickets that are written downtown. And the city takes very seriously the policing of
I wish I got to get more involved and see what that looks like. Okay.
It's
Please
crazy.
don't.
Yeah, no, I won't. Ed, if somebody has questions, did we give your phone number here? How do they reach you?
Best way to reach me is by phone, 805-543-1212, or you can also contact me through my website at www.attalalaw.com, ATTALALAW.com. Attalla
What was that song you were singing? I deal a lot with jingles in my.
There's a jingle that goes with fa la 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 la. Attalla Law.
Okay.
I won't go into the
You're not going to fill in the rest. We probably should kind of wrap it up.
Thank you for asking, Jeff.
Now we're getting crazy. All right. Thank you, Ed. I appreciate it. That's super awesome of you to give us that information. Those of you that are watching us, make sure you like and subscribe to us on YouTube. And Mr. Kingman?
Yes. And also, this is going to be at some point on KVEC, 9:20 a.m. on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Yeah. And this will probably be scheduled. This particular episode will probably be scheduled to air right before.
This is a perfect one.
Right before St. Patrick's Day.
And if you're listening on KVEC, just don't turn it up too loud if you're at home.
Don't turn it up too loud, and maybe listen to it in your earbuds.
Earbuds.
Yes,
okay, good.
On your podcast. And
I like it. Okay.
Subscribe to the Slow County Real Estate Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
But sing the fa la 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 song as loud as you can.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, everybody. We'll talk to you next time.
All right.
See you later.